Let's try again. 1 second. Let me refresh so I can get your comments. Thank you for joining, guys. I'm still just having a few technical issues. Give me a second just while you're getting in. So I'm just going to keep talking just whilst I'm setting up. So I think we've got it. Today I'm going to make some vegan ricotta, and I'm also going to make some savoury pancakes. So these recipes are really adaptable. So with the ricotta, I'm going to be adding a few herbs in. You can add whatever herbs or spices you like. The same with the pancakes. I'm adding a bit of colour in today just to get a bit of the rainbow vibe in. But again, you can add whatever flavours you want in to change it to your tastes. So just while this is loading up, and I'm going to sort technical issues out before we get going. The flours I'm going to be using today are gluten-free. I am not gluten-free, but when I'm doing things like flatbreads or pancakes, I just find that they're a little bit lighter, a little bit easier to use. You don't need to rest them. So just to make recipes quicker and easier, I tend to use gluten-free flours for things like that. But whereas if I'm going to make some actual bread, I would use bread flour. So I'm really sorry about these technical issues, guys. So I hope you can all hear me. I hope you can all see me. I'm going to carry on. Day, if you would just comment if you need to whilst my page is loading, and then we'll say hello to everyone as soon as I've got your names and questions. So Day is at home and she will answer any of your questions whilst I can't see them, but I'm still just going to get on because I know you've been waiting. So hello to everyone that's watching. I'm sorry I can't talk to you personally right now. I will keep refreshing this page. So I'm just going to talk through the recipe. So first of all, we're going to make the ricotta cheese. Then I'm going to make the pancakes. So as far as the fillings go, these are just things that I had in the house. So I know, obviously, everything that's going on, we're struggling to go shopping, we have to use up what we've got, and I want to do this anyway, but especially now, we want to reduce food waste. So, for now, I have got tofu in, I've got some veg in, and just mix and match, a bit of veg, a bit of salad. So regarding this, you can use whatever you've got in. Sorry, I'm just being passed a phone, so I've got some comments that I can see. There's going to be a bit of a delay because I'm watching this not live. So I will say hello and I will do what I can as we're going through. So let's get to it. So let's make before we carry on. So the tofu and the mushrooms and the peppers, I've already got them in the oven. So I decided to go oil-free, just to make this recipe really light. No real strong flavours. We're going to get some zestiness and creaminess for our cheese. We've got a little bit of garlic in our pancakes and just a touch of chili on the tofu. It's totally up to you. Like I said, it depends what you're using. If you want to add oil, you can add oil. I've just chosen not to. So I've already got them in the oven, 180 degrees. That's 350 Fahrenheit, gas mark 4. I've got my timer going, so I'm going to put them in for 20 to 25 minutes. Wouldn't need longer than that. So for the cheese, let's get going. So for the cheese, we're going to use soy milk. It has to be soy milk. So to make the ricotta, we're just going to add a bit of acid into the cheese, and I'm going to use lemon juice. Once the acid is in there and we're going to get a bit of heat going, the soy milk will start to separate. So as it separates, you're going to see like little curds appearing, and then you're going to see the milk separating and water being left behind. So for this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to the milk. We're going to get this milk onto a medium-low heat. We do not want the milk to boil. So I've chosen to do 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. That's because it will separate, but it's not going to add that lemon taste to it, just a subtle taste. If you want more, we'll add it in later. So I've already got my lemon juice freshly squeezed, and we're just going to go straight into our milk. Sorry guys, I've still not got your comments and names up on my screen yet, so thank you for being so patient. We're going to make this work. It would be my luck for the technical issues to happen. I'm sorry, Dave. So, lemon juice is in there, and we're just going to heat it up, and I'm just going to do a gentle stir, and it'll just take a couple of minutes and it will start to curdle, and that looks good. So whilst this is heating, just to explain what we're going to do afterwards. So you're going to want a colander or a sieve. If you've got a cheesecloth, fantastic, use it. If not, you're going to want to make sure, I don't have a sieve, so mine's a colander. So they're not too big, but they're quite biggish holes. I have done this without using the cheesecloth. If you're going to use it without the cheesecloth, you're just going to lose a bit of the cheese. So really, if you want to keep it all, cheesecloth's fantastic. So you're just going to have a bowl ready with a sieve or a colander, and that's ready. We're going to pour our milk in once it's separated, so we can see. I don't know if you can see. It's starting to curdle. So we're going to take that a little bit further. Just going to move this out. I'm going to keep this lemon juice to one side, and I'm going to use this again if I want to add any in extra. So I'm just going to move that to one side because we don't need it now. Hi Sarah, I'm sorry there's such a delay because I'm not watching this in time with you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us today. So we can see it's starting to curdle a little bit more. Those pieces are getting a little bit bigger, but it's not separated enough yet. It still looks like creamy milk. So we want it where once we move the curd, you can see the water separate. I'm just going to turn that up a tiny bit more. The heat will help with this, but like I said, we don't want it to boil. So we're just going to keep stirring, keep moving it gently. Just checking for those curds. And then once this is ready to pour out, we're going to pour it into here, and we're just going to set it to one side to cool down. And then we'll add the flavour and the extra things in once it's cooled. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to reload this whilst we're going. Sorry, Jay's trying to help with my technical issues. He's being a superstar right now.
You can see fine.
So we're almost ready. Still a little bit too creamy. Yeah, any soy milk will do. So it has to be soy milk, because if we're using any other plant-based milks, they're not going to separate into this curd, which is what we want. I'm just going to take it a little bit further, and then I'm just going to try and show you. Might be a bit hard to see because I've got my pans are light inside. But it starts to look, you can really tell when it's separated. It looks really curdled, obviously, but you can see the kind of water. I would describe it as looking a bit oily, even though it's not oil. And it's really separated. So before we pour it out, like I said, make sure there's a bowl big enough to catch the the water really that's going to come out. I'm going to catch the cheese in here. So I think this is ready to go. I don't know if you can see. So I've got the curds catching on here. I can see through the milk that I've got ripples of that water, so I can see that it's separated. So you're not going to have really big chunks. I don't know if you can see, they're really small. So it's not going to be like big chunks, but once we separate it, once it's separated and we pour it in here, it's going to come together. And if you want to make it a bit firmer, we can squeeze that extra moisture out. Oh, you want a close up. I don't know if I'm really delayed here, and I don't know if you can see. So I think we will strain this out. So I'm going to just take it off the heat. I'm going to pour it in here and then I'll show you what it looks like. So like I said, if you haven't got a cheesecloth, it's fine. You just need to make sure this is not going to lose everything. So we don't want the big colanders. Because like I said, these bits, once you stop the heat, I'm going to try and show you this. I hope you can see it. I'm really sorry that I have not got this live feed, so I can't see what you can see. But we've definitely separated. Now what I'm going to do, put it straight in, scrape everything out. So we've got those little curds gone. We're just going to pop this out of the way and rinse that so we've got it. Just going to let that fluid come out. Carefully lift this over because I know I've got this fluid in here. I hope you can. Don't mind me, I'm just going to drip it and then you can see. So we've got this curd in here now. Because you can see it's still a bit runny, so we're going to let some fluid come out. I'm going to just move this to one side and we're going to come back to the ricotta cheese. So that is just a basic, we've not added anything in. But we're going to add our flavour in once it's cooled, and then that's when you can adapt it to have flavours in that you like. I'm just going to check my time. This is ready to come out, so I'm actually going to just pull this out and I will show you, and we'll leave it to one side. And then we'll get on with our pancake. So I'm going to show you. We have got some roasted tofu, peppers and mushrooms. So with my wrap, I don't mind that these are going to cool down a bit. I prefer it like that. So I want this to just be a light lunch. But like I said, you can make this however you want. You can have whatever ingredients you want. With the tofu, before we cook it, you want to make sure you really strain all the water out of it. I've not added any oil, like I said, because I want that crispy, dry feeling, but it's moist inside. And all I've done is, on the tofu alone, a little bit of soy sauce and a sprinkle of chili flakes. Everything else is just as it is. So I'm going to move these to one side and they're ready to load up at the end. So let's get on with the pancakes. So I have to admit, I am probably one of the worst people at making pancakes. So if this works for me, then it's definitely going to work for you. So please don't judge me if it goes wrong, okay? So like I said, I'm going to use gluten-free flours. Oh, lost my towel. So for gluten-free flours, I have got, I'm doing a 50-50 mix. So we've got 50 grams of gram flour or chickpea flour and 50 grams of plain gluten-free flour. This is company called Dove's Farm. Really versatile. Use it, like I said, pancakes, flatbread, sometimes just as a mixture. If I've run out of flours, I'll mix it with normal plain flour, whatever I need it for. So I'm going to use these up. So this recipe will make 4 pancakes roughly. So I have got the mixture for 4 because I will make some extra ones later, but I'll probably just make 2 now. So gluten-free flour, plain flour in, chickpea flour in, nice and easy, so 50-50 of each, 50 grams of each, just keeping my washing out to one side. So here we have, I've got a teaspoon of spirulina, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and I've actually gone for a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Again, salt to taste, pepper to taste, spice. Spirulina is in for some colour, so you might want to add turmeric. If you add turmeric, I would probably do half a teaspoon. You could add beetroot powder. If you've boiled some beetroots, maybe use the water left over that's a bit coloured instead of your water to add a bit of colour in. Spirulina's got a really strong smell and taste, hence why if you are using spirulina, I would add some extra flavour in. If you're just going to use spirulina and maybe a little bit of salt, go for half a teaspoon, even 1/4 of a teaspoon, but your colour's not going to be as bright. It might even be a bit of a pale green, bluey colour. But anyway, so we're going for spirulina today, and I'm just going to add all of that in. I love anything with garlic in, so it goes into most of my recipes. The powdered option is just so we're not adding any extra moisture in, and we don't need to cook anything extra out. So I'm just going to give these a mix. So before I add anything else, I want to just discuss the psyllium husk. So my packet's actually running out. So this is the brand that I've used. So for psyllium husk, it needs to be really fine, and it's going to act as a binder, and it also is going to add just a little bit of extra fibre in there, which is always good. But I want you to add it after you add the fluid. And when you're dealing with pancake mixes, and especially with gluten-free flour, as it sits, it's going to thicken. So I don't want you to make the pancake batter and leave it and then come back to it to do your pancakes. It's going to thicken up. So depending on what flours you're using, depending on the temperature of your water, if your water's a little bit warmer, it's going to thicken up faster. So I've got cold water, I've got 200 ml of cold water. I'm sorry guys that I have not been talking to anyone specifically because I have not got the live feed. What did that just say? How long, so Sarah, how long did the tofu and veggies stay in the oven? So I've cooked them for 25 minutes today. 20 to 25, 180 degrees. Depending on how good your oven is, it might be a little bit shorter. I'm just checking. Oh yes, someone's already answered for me. Oh, so what's the name? So this is Whole Food Earth psyllium husk. So there's different brands. I actually found this on Amazon. It's quite expensive for what it is, but you use a tiny amount. So I've had this bag for ages, as you can tell by the look of it. So, like I was saying, don't mix it up too early. I'm actually just going to pop this on just to get this going. So you want a medium to high heat for your pan. You're going to let that cook up. Now with oil, I am going to put a bit of oil in the pan, but I would like to just keep it light. So I'm going to put a bit on the kitchen roll, and I'm just going to wipe my pan. And I'm going to do this in between every pancake. But we'll talk about that when we do it. So we've got all of our dry ingredients apart from our psyllium husk. I'm going to add the water in, and then I'm going to add the psyllium husk in to mix up whilst this is heating up. Always have a little bit of extra water to one side just in case you need it. If you need any extra water, add it in a tablespoon at a time. So, let's do mixing. So we're just going to go straight in with 200 mils of water. And we're going to mix this up. So for our pancake mix, we want it to be really runny. These are going to be thin and light. They're going to cook quite fast. Another thing to mention, if you're not using, I've noticed if I don't use a lot, so if I say I use half a teaspoon of psyllium husk, half a teaspoon of spirulina, when I'm cooking that first side down, sometimes goes brown, and then the opposite side, once I flip it over, will stay green. So I don't know whether that's just to do with how much colour is in there. But when it seems to be the darker green, it tends to stay green. So we have got our flours, dry ingredients, and water mixed up, and then we're going to go half a teaspoon of psyllium husk, half a teaspoon, straight in, and then we're going to mix this in. So we've got a nice batter mix and we're ready to go. So let's just check, we've got a nice hot pan. I'm going to remove the oil from there. And I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup for a measure to get my four, so that's 80 mils roughly. Tend to really have a little bit extra with the last one. But I'm just going to pop this there to reduce the mess. So we're going to go straight in the centre, wiggle it round. And keep fingers crossed for me. Keep them crossed, keep them crossed, keep them crossed. Just checking whilst if there's any questions. So, what I've noticed when I'm using gluten-free flours, I'm just going to leave it, and then the edges start to roll up, just start to come away from the pan, so I know it's ready to get the spatula under, and then we can flip it. That second side is not going to stick the same. So I just want it to start to come away from the sides, hopefully. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Like I said, we want a hot pan for this. Sometimes, like the traditional pancake situation, the first one might be a test run, but I can see it's starting to pick up. So I hope we're going to be okay. Just check if we've got any more questions. I'm really sorry that I've not been able to speak to you more personally, guys. I'm doing it through a phone, so I'm just trying to keep up to date with everyone. Right, so, hope you can see, we're starting to come away. We're just sticking at this little bit here. Might have just caught at this side. Give it a second. So, once I'm going to cook, we'll cook 2 pancakes, we'll pop them on the side, and then we'll get our cheese sorted. Oh, I think we've done it. So we've all come away. We're just going to flip it over, and we're going to pop it on the other side. Fantastic, it worked. Like I said, I'm the worst person at making pancakes, so anybody can do that. So we're just going to make sure we're lightly oiled, and like I said, I think, to me personally, I think it's the gluten-free flours. I think in this one, there's a little bit of tapioca. Yeah. So I think like that kind of works a little bit like the corn flour situation. Oh, should we have got flipping? Oh God, don't judge me. Oh. I'm showing off now. So, Got nice green pancakes. And we're just going to pop them to the side. We're going to do our next one. So again, don't forget to oil in between. If you've got a little bit of kitchen roll, anything that sticks with the oil, it'll just take those little bits away as well. So we're not going to let this next one catch. You need to remember to get the sides because that's where I start to go wrong and the sides start to stick. So we've got our third of a cup. Spread it around the best you can. Roll it round, roll it round, roll it round. And we're just going to leave it. So, whilst that side's doing, I'm going to bring the cheese back and we're going to get on with this. So I'm going to pop it into a glass bowl and you can see it. So, just need to keep an eye on that while I'm doing this. So we're going to squeeze some of the moisture out. So this will depend on how you want your cheese to be. If you want it to be a little bit more spreadable, we're going to leave some of that moisture in. If you want it to be a little bit kind of firmer and maybe crumblier, we're going to squeeze all the moisture out. I kind of want it in between. I'm just checking this because we're coming up and we're ready to flip. So can you see, like I said, sometimes we're going to get a little bit of a brown colour. That second side is going to stay nice and green for us. So that second side is going to be the outside of your wrap. So we've got our cheese in here. We're just going to squeeze some of that moisture out. Pop it there a second. Move this and then you can see what I'm doing. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate this, and today I really appreciate you letting me join in with fun. Should we ever go flipping again? Oh God, please work. Oh. Gets me every time. Right, we're going to call that a day with our pancakes. So we've got 2 green pancakes ready to go. I'm just going to move on my rubbish out of the way. So let's scrape our cheese out of here. And try not to be too messy. Try and get it all out. So remember, this is going to be our soy milk. This is going to be enough cheese for our 4 wraps that you would have made. I'm only going to make 2. You can, oh, I've left me up on, I don't need to be on anymore. You could make a bigger batch of this. So, like, I would just double it up, triple it, whatever you want to do. You can keep it in the fridge for a few days. If you don't squeeze, so I'm just going to show you now, so you can see it's really spreadable. If I got rid of some of that moisture, it would be a little bit more crumbly. So the more moisture you leave in, the smoother it is. If you make a bigger batch, maybe even double, and a little bit of extra lemon, it's really nice to mix for your pasta. Really nice to make a creamy, cheesy sauce for your pasta. But with that little bit of zest, just adds a nice little touch. So, let's flavour our cheese. So, I don't need this water, because I didn't need any extra. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Again, salt and pepper to your taste. I don't really like salty foods, so I'm just going to add my 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to go for some purple pepper. So herbs. At the minute, my herbs are just starting to grow again from winter. So I've not got a good selection, so I've got some parsley today. So I'm going to add parsley to my cheese. It's really nice with basil. I just haven't got any, but I love parsley too. So we're going to add 2. So I've just roughly chopped these. Again, if you want it more fine, if you want it a bit more chunkier, I just like to have big bits of green coming through. I'm a very visual person with my food, so how it looks is really important. So this bit is all down to your taste. How do you want it to be? You could maybe omit the fresh herbs and add a bit of smoked paprika, a bit of chilli. You could add a bit of garlic, make it a bit more of garlic and walnut. That'd be a lovely combination. So I'm just going to taste it. It's got a really creamy taste to it. But I think it could do with a little bit more lemon. I like to have that little zestiness. So like I said, if you've just got 2 tablespoons, or I've not had nutritional yeast to add some cheesiness. Sometimes I add this, sometimes I don't. This is going to bring a cheesy flavour. So we've just got our nutritional yeast flakes. This one with a bit of extra B12. So we're going to add that in, because cheesiness is always good. I thought this would be a good recipe to share because where I live, vegan cheese isn't that available in the supermarkets, especially with what's going on now. And sometimes if it is, it's really expensive, and it's worth buying. I love it, but it's not something that I can afford to buy and use all the time. So something like this, always got soy milk in the house. I actually made my own soy milk. I had to go making my soy milk, so I can say that I've really made my own cheese because I've made my own milk and then I've made my own cheese, which I'm super happy about. I'll just pull these seeds out. But this is something that you can just, like I said, just whip it up. It doesn't take a long time. You can use it on a sandwich, use it in a wrap, use it in your pasta. So a little bit of extra lemon, just to my taste. And we have got some ricotta cheese. So let me just move this. So I would like to use up what I've got in my fridge right now. It's really important anyway to try and reduce food waste. Something that I try to do all the time. But like I said, especially now we're all in the same boat. So we all want to make sure our food is going as far as it can go. And things like this, it's seen better days, but we've still got a little bit of use out of it because we all want a tiny bit of colour. So let's start to, I'll tell you what, let's prep our salad. So I've got some lettuce already done. I'm just going to chop up a spring onion because I love some spring onion. So we're going to do spring onion. I'm going to grate some carrot, and I'm just going to slice the remainder of my red cabbage and half an avocado. Whilst I'm slicing, I forgot to mention at the start of the video, there is a little hidden rainbow that you need to find. It is a little one, but I'm sure you can see it. So we've got spring onion. We're going to slice yeah, Paul, I agree. Let's flatten that curve. Reduce our food waste. Food waste makes me sad. So just chopped up some, roughly chop up red cabbage. We're going to grate half a carrot. And my carrot's seen better days, but I'm still going to use it. So I'm just trying to get as many colours into this dish as possible. Like I said, I'm very visual with my food, so the more colours the better. And this has also got a mixture of cooked and raw. So got lots of different textures in here. We've got some creamy taste, we've got some zesty taste. We're trying to be healthy, so we've reduced our oil, and we're going to get some goodness from our veg. So half an avocado, so we're going to just slice it, and then we'll scoop that out when we're ready. So let's move this. Let me just get those back on. I think you found the rainbow. Rainbow salad always, Susan. Rainbow salad always. Right, guys. So we're gonna make sure your greenish side is down. So this is gonna be the inside. You're gonna take some of your cheese. We're just gonna spread that on. Nice light lunch. Spread it on. And then I'm going to add a little bit of lettuce. Get some colour, some freshness. A little bit of lettuce. I've got some little sprouts there, some pea shoots that I just snipped off before. I'm going to add my cooked ingredients, and then I'll top it off with some more salad. So you're going to do maybe 3, actually we'll go peppers first, so we're going to go peppers. So again, using any peppers, any veg that you've got. I'm going to put in the peppers, tofu, and then some mushrooms. So I'm going to pop that one back. Some mushrooms. I'm so glad you found the rainbow. I failed epically on every video to find it, so I did want to make it so you could see it. And I have only got a tiny kitchen, so there's not many places I can hide it. Some avocado. Little bit of carrot. A little bit of red cabbage, and you're just going to fold it in half. We've got a super loaded pancake. Pop that in. Oh. So there you have it, guys. We've got our savoury pancake with ricotta, baked tofu, and vegetables. I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties. I hope that you've enjoyed the recipe. If you've got any questions before I go, I will just double check, because there is a slight delay, so I just want to double check that you've got all your questions. If I've missed any, I know Dave will get it. I know she's going to share the recipe through the group, so you can always go and download the recipe there. And like I said, you can change this to have whatever filling you want, whatever spice and flavour you want. But I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I've loved doing it, even though I can't get the message up. Thanks, guys. I really, really appreciate all your comments. What does... Oh, you've commented. Thanks for answering each other's questions as well, guys. So, I'm going to go. and hopefully I'll be back soon, and hopefully I'll do better next time with the laptop. But thank you so much